No one is the ruler over me. No one is dictating or can dictate what content I create or do not create for that matter. What's going on, arm wrestling world? I hope you are well. I'm going to make a video today that is talk about speaking your mind. I watched a video. I saw I think it was an Instagram reel of all things today with Conor McGregor. Don't know if that's a good Conor McGregor accent. It's pretty terrible. There we go. It might be there now. It's getting better. But anyway, I saw him say things like, it's easy to have a dream up here, but it's very difficult. And a lot of people lack the courage to speak it and actually attempt to live it. But once you do speak it, things start to happen. But I wanted to somewhat reflect on a massive season that has been the last decade. And I wanted to also kind of make declaration or speak to where I'm headed from here. So 10 years ago, if you were somebody who happened to stumble across my YouTube channel, this is what you saw. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was incredibly new to arm wrestling. Brand new. I was skinny, as you can see, very skinny. At this point in time, it's hard to believe it, but I think I was, 27 years old? About to turn 28. I think it was just before my 28th birthday that I really found the sport. And I went all in. I made the decision that I was going to make arm wrestling a career. I declared that to everyone in my close circles. I said, look, no, I'm going all in on arm wrestling. I didn't obviously have the means to make it financially viable at that stage, nor did the sport have a means for athletes to make a career in its completeness at that stage. So what I did was I identified that via YouTube was going to be the avenue in which I would dare to dream and attempt to chase said dream. I watched people like Gary Vaynerchuk. I listened a lot to Gary Vaynerchuk during my time where I was working in a sports supplement store that I had started and owned. And I learned a lot of principles from him, principles in respect to just starting, principles in respect to documenting. I can't even talk today, I apologize. Documenting a journey. Acknowledgement to oneself that the journey is part of the process and that the journey is, in many respects, the reward, and falling in love with that process. So I was pretty open about that. I was pretty open about that in two fronts. One, as an athlete, and the other, as a YouTube commentator. Now, these things would run in parallel throughout the decade. As a commentator and as an athlete, it would chop and change as to which was in the lead in respect to which had developed further. Obviously, it takes time to become a professional arm wrestler. It also takes time to become a significant YouTuber. But 10 years down the track, we've landed here. During that time, I remember fumbling through lots of things, trying to work out, trying different styles of content, vlogs. I remember vlogging with Justin Bishop, actually 2017. I brought Justin Bishop out to Australia to have my first international super match. I looked at Justin, I admired him, and I thought, he's a good dude that I can bring out. I can document it, and I can film the match, upload it, and get my opportunity to grow. Win, lose, or draw, I have an opportunity to grow. And that was the model that I embarked on. Justin beat me 6-0, and I grew as an athlete. As a YouTuber, you're always in this state of growing. Like I said at the time, I was vlogging with Justin. I remember him driving in my small car that I had at the time. I think it was a Holden Barina or something crazy little thing like that. He was freaking out going around roundabouts on the wrong side of the road, all sorts of stuff like that. After that season, I started as an athlete to recognize the need for different components of strength. Side pressure, enter Todd Hutchins. A few years later, I started to train under his guidance, which ended around 2019. 2019, I competed at the Zloty Tour, growing as an athlete, looking for more. I'd competed right back in 2014 in Arm Wars, against Anil Najran on the right. Had a great match there. Sorry to get the timelines a little bit out of whack. But the main thing was I was always very much declaring where I was going. This led to a lot of ridicule. As you know, the Delusional Ryan Bowen series started to pop up, and that to me felt like I kind of saw it coming. I saw that coming because I'd experienced that at all the different levels. I'd experienced it at the very lowest level when I was an arm wrestler, before I was even anybody. I remember being criticized heavily for the thought of even bringing Justin to Australia. People like Chris Garby were very vocal that I was a nobody and never would be an anybody in respect to my ability on the table. And at the time, I remember, I think I got under Chris's skin, and this is how I was actually born, that I would head towards the inevitable bottom 8 clash with him, was when Devon Larratt saw Chris and I arguing in a forum. In there we were arguing, and Devon made a cheeky comment because he had gripped up with me prior when he'd made his visit to Australia. He said to Chris at the time, I'd bet $1,000 that Ryan would beat you in a super match. And that really got under Chris's skin. And the vitriol, the constant attack then from Chris was pretty solid. But I knew and expected all of this to happen because, as I said, I was always speaking what I was aiming for. I was always speaking forward the dream that was in my head. As an athlete, it led me to the loss of Coach Ray. When I lost to Coach Ray, I thought to myself, okay, you've been doing this for a long time. And when I say this, I'm talking about the efforts to be both a YouTuber and an athlete. And I recognized, I could feel within myself, it wasn't enough. I wasn't able to give enough energy to being an athlete to become the athlete that I wanted to become. I couldn't reach the goals that I was aiming for whilst giving half of my energy, my thought, my time to content creation. Things like prediction videos and match analysis, commentary on podcasts, things like that. I had to forego those things. And I made a decision 6 months ago that was going to be that. And if you look at my YouTube channel over the last 6 months, there's been very few, if any, maybe 1 or 2 videos where I've talked about another match, be it in a prediction style or an analysis style. It's rare. There's been some amazing matches, and I didn't talk about any of them. And why did I do that? I did that, as I said, because I was focusing on giving all of my energy to becoming an athlete. Now, the good news is I think the athlete column has risen. People will like to joke and say that I haven't won a match. And if I get this next stat wrong, I'm sure you guys let me know. But I believe my actual international and professional, it's just called super match record, stands at 14 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. So there's plenty of wins out there. People just think it's cooler and funnier to say that I've never won one. So the athlete side of it is rising. The commentator side of it I've left that for a while. I had the opportunity to work with and learn from a YouTuber who had over 10 million subscribers.
Wow.
And I learned principles about content creation that you saw come to life during the build-up to Devon Larratt against Levon Saginashvili. My content clearly changed then. I put a lot of effort. I spent maybe 8 hours a day on video content and editing and designing emotions to be built into videos. There were signs that was going to be rewarding and doing very well. But as I said, it wasn't where my heart was. It wasn't where my heart was, and it didn't allow me to put my energy where my heart was. Training. So here we are, 2023, March 28th. And I thought I'd let you guys know what my direction is from here. I thought I'd speak it once more. So a lot of people have asked me, am I going to continue in the YouTube sense? Yes, I will continue in the YouTube sense. As a commentator of the sport, less so. I don't feel like I want to do match analysis. I don't feel like I want to do prediction shows. That's not my thing. I'm not enjoying that. I will do live commentaries, hanging out with my community in a fight companion style, just literal reaction style, hanging out with my buddies at a barbecue. I'll do lives because that's just fun. I enjoy that. But you won't see dedicated creative content focused on being an analyst in the sport. What you will see from me, and I recognize this after a few conversations, and I'll name him with Pradeep. Spoke to Pradeep, and he inspired me a bit towards this. I'm all in on the athlete side. I'm definitely all in on the athlete side. When I look at YouTube, it is my career. It is what pays for the bills, for the house that I live in, for sending my children to school, all sorts of things. It is what I depend on. So I must do well in that respect. And I think the angle that I'm going to embark on is an angle where I increase my production. I increase my thought process and effort going into videos surrounding my journey as an athlete. Videos documenting my story as an athlete. Videos that showcase all of the hurdles that I hit, all of the triumphs that I succeed with, all of the battles, all of the grind, all of that. So it is kind of in the same spot as where we begun. I have a big goal as an arm wrestler, and this channel is going to be dedicated to documenting my story in pursuit of that goal. Nothing can stop me from doing this. No one is the ruler over me. No one is dictating or can dictate what content I create, or do not create for that matter. I won't be ruled by anyone within the sport in any senses. And I will just keep pushing forward. I love arm wrestling, and I will continue to be an arm wrestler. I will continue to train hard and grow, and I will do as I please with my content. And that is where we'll take it. So expect more production, expect more effort, and expect me to go headfirst into what I believe is getting close to the final few chapters of my arm wrestling story as a physical athlete. I believe I am close now to reaching the level where people would call me an elite arm wrestler. I believe I'm close to that. And being an elite, recognized as an elite arm wrestler, is only one step away from being a world champion. And then that is only one step away from being considered a great of the sport, which is truly my ultimate goal. Being considered a great of the arm wrestling world before I die. So yeah. Anyway, 15 minutes in. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you that's been here on this decade-long journey. I appreciate all the likes, the comments, shares, the members, pay-per-view supports, the sponsors that have jumped in. I appreciate all of you. And I'm truly grateful that you're here, and I'm truly grateful that you've made this my career. And yeah, let's see how high we can take it. Let's see if we can live the words of Conor McGregor and speak this into truth. All right, guys.